Right, on demand and on every platform. Stay engaged, stay informed, and stay in tune with what's happening now on Real America's Voice.
God bless America. Thank you for being here.
There's finally a platform for your news and your voice.
Hey there, good morning, and welcome to Just the News AM. I'm Carrie Sheffield, and glad you are here.
Real America's Voice News is the perfect news companion.
Senator Mitch McConnell congratulates former Vice President Joe Biden on 270 electoral votes and reaction after Attorney General William Barr announces he'll step down. Plus, New York Governor Andrew Cuomo and Mayor Bill de Blasio say New York is likely to shut down completely again. But could that be enough to destroy the finance capital of the world? Our bipartisan panel weighs in. And later, a not-so-nice Santa denies a boy toy gun for Christmas. Sounds a lot like the situation from A Christmas Story, but don't worry, this one has a jolly ending. Happy Tuesday to you and welcome to News On. I'm Miranda. Thank you so much for joining us. Breaking news. Just a short time ago, Mitch McConnell congratulated Joe Biden on the Senate floor for his 270 electoral votes. This is the first congratulatory mark that he has made to the former vice president about the 2020 election. And Attorney General William Barr announced last night that he is resigning from his position as Attorney General come December 23rd. That's just in a few days. President Trump announced Barr's decision in true Trump fashion, via tweet, of course, right after the two met to discuss a plan, saying this. Just had a very nice meeting with Attorney General Bill Barr at the White House. Our relationship has been a very good one. He has done an outstanding job. As per letter, Bill will be leaving just before Christmas to spend the holidays with his family. He continued on with that tweet to explain that Deputy Attorney General Jeff Rosen will be taking Barr's place and that Richard Donahue will then take over Rosen's position as Deputy Attorney General. Barr also released a letter explaining the departure where he decried the Russian collusion investigation that went on for the first 2 years of the Trump presidency, calling the investigation frenzied and baseless. Also, in election news, going back to that, former Vice President Joe Biden received 270 electoral votes. This happened yesterday. He went on to give a speech later that evening where he criticized the Trump campaign for their legal pursuits. Take a look.
In America, when questions are raised about the legitimacy of any election, those questions are resolved through the legal processes. And that's precisely what happened here. The Trump campaign brought dozens and dozens and dozens of legal challenges to test the result. They were heard again and again. And each of the time they were heard, they were found to be without merit. Time and again, President Trump's lawyers presented arguments to state officials, state legislatures, state and federal courts, and ultimately to the United States Supreme Court twice. They were heard by more than 80 judges across this country, and in every case, no cause or evidence was found to reverse or question or dispute the results.
Meanwhile, Republican electors in swing states cast their procedural ballots yesterday for President Trump, many of whom say the fight for the president is still not over. And according to Just a News report, a Michigan state representative said, quote, what it comes down to is this. Have the Secretary of State, Director of Elections, and election officials prove to you that the election had accuracy and integrity, he says. They have not. And because of this, the election is in dispute. In Michigan, there is still a dispute over the 2020 general election. Members of the Michigan legislature have asked Washington, D.C. to not count Michigan electoral votes until after the dispute is settled. For now, the plan remains the same, that Congress will count all electoral votes January 6th. And in more Michigan news, a Michigan judge has now ordered the release of a report that finds an intentional systematic errors in the programs designed for Dominion voting systems and that the errors were meant to influence election results. The analysts who ran the report are part of the Allied Security Operations Group, and their analysis stated, quote, this: "We conclude that the Dominion voting system is intentionally and purposefully designed with inherent errors to create systematic fraud and influence election results. And that, quote, the system intentionally generates an enormously high number of ballot errors. The electronic ballots are then transferred for adjudication." This report confirms earlier claims by a county Michigan resident by the name of William Bailey, who suspected that there were problems with the voting machines. And in Wisconsin, the Supreme Court ruled that state and local election officials did not follow procedure by skipping voter ID requirements in the 2020 election. They ruled in a Dane County case that when age, physical illness, anything could prevent a voter from having the ability to provide identification due to permanent confinement, the ID laws would no longer apply. But that the existence of COVID-19 itself was not enough to render everyone permanently confined. In the state's primary, nearly 200,000 voters declared themselves permanently confined, far more than previous years, even more so than in the 2020 general election. The finding could present a legal opportunity for the Trump campaign to challenge tens of thousands of ballots. And a new development in the bipartisan coronavirus relief bill. A promise by Senator Manchin. The deal was released yesterday, and the bipartisan team was able to negotiate the spending in the package from $908 billion down to $748 billion. Maine Senator Angus King explained the plan for the bill, urging the Senate to pass it as soon as possible.
We're not handing the Senate leadership a concept draft. We're not handing them an outline. We're handing them a bill. This could go on the floor of the Senate tomorrow. It is in legislative language. It's been through legislative council. So we've taken a lot of the work out of this for them and hope that this will be the basis of the package that emerges at the end of the week.
And we'll continue to follow all of these latest developments and bring you updates as we receive them. Now, let's take a look at COVID news. The director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, Dr. Anthony Fauci, announced during a discussion with the Center for Strategy and International Studies that he recommends mask wearing and social distancing into early next winter. And that the future, he says, of our economy opening is contingent on how many people are actually vaccinated, according to him. Also, and more COVID-19 vaccine news, if we can take a look at that, we're going to be talking about that nurse who became the first one to actually become vaccinated. We're going to have more discussion also about New York possibly shutting down with our panel next.
Real America's Voice is a platform that fosters the real voice of America.
God bless America. Thank you for being here.
It's my voice. It's your voice. It's Real America's Voice.
Hey there, good morning, and welcome to Just the News AM. I'm Carrie Sheffield, and glad you are here.
You're watching Real America's Voice News. Real America's Voice News brings you real news and real opinion in a real world.
Keep it right here, Real America's Voice.
Stay informed, stay engaged, and stay up to date with Real America's Voice News.
Hey, I'm David Brody. Glad you're with us.
Download the Real America's Voice News app today at americasvoice.app. Real America's Voice News is a platform that celebrates America every day.
I'm thankful for many things, including you, our viewers who inspire me.
Don't miss 1 minute of Real America's Voice News. Real America's Voice News is opinion done right, on demand and on every platform. Stay engaged, stay informed, and stay in tune with what's happening now on Real America's Voice.
God bless America. Thank you for being here.
There's finally a platform for your news and your voice.
Hey there, good morning, and welcome to Just the News AM. I'm Carrie Sheffield, and glad you are here.
Real America's Voice News is the perfect news companion, featuring breaking news and expert commentary to get you through your day. Real America's Voice News brings you real news and real opinion in a real world.
Keep it right here, Real America's Voice.
Stay informed, stay engaged, and stay up to date with Real America's Voice News.
I'm David Brody. Glad you're with us.
Download the Real America's Voice News app today at americasvoice.app. Real America's Voice News is a platform that celebrates America every day.
I'm thankful for many things, including you, our viewers who inspire me.
Don't miss 1 minute of Real America's Voice News. Real America's Voice News is opinion done right, on demand.
Welcome back to News On. More in COVID news. New York may face a complete shutdown. Governor Andrew Cuomo made the announcement during a news conference yesterday. Do we have his comments?
If we don't change the trajectory, we're going to go to shutdown, and then your business is going to close.
And there, you heard it right there. Also, New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio echoing that sentiment, saying this.
The current rate we're going, you have to be ready now for a full shutdown, a pause like we had back at the end of the spring.
So, of course, this news comes after indoor dining closed down again in the city just last week. Joining us live now to weigh in on Governor Andrew Cuomo and Mayor Bill de Blasio's statements is the president of Americans for Limited Government, Rick Manning. Rick, thank you so much for joining us here live on News On. A pleasure to have you on again.
Thank you for having me.
So I want to get... Sorry, we're having a little bit of a delay, so I apologize. I want to go to a little bit about what they were saying. About 60% of businesses closing due to COVID, this is what a lot of reports are saying, will likely not reopen. What could a complete second closure mean for, this is not going to just affect New York City. It's going to have this ripple effect on the country and the world because it is the business capital of the world. Rick, your reaction?
Yeah, it has a massive impact. But just in New York City alone, you're looking at already 1 million people unemployed. You're looking at businesses being shut down. And one of the things that people don't understand is that those businesses that were barely hanging on with a second shutdown, they're not going to be able to barely hang on. So we're looking at a catastrophic effect in the city and in New York State itself. But the fact of the matter is, as you said, New York is the epicenter of a lot of commerce. We're seeing a lot of the financial services industry actually move out of state, move out of New York for both pricing perspectives, and it costs less from taxes and other things, but also because if you can't get to work, you can't do work. And so while we're seeing a lot of jobs being moved via, using the internet to actually do remote working, like a lot of us do. We're also seeing a lot of full offices moving because those office managers are now looking and say, do we need this much commercial office space? New York City is on the verge of collapse, and internationally it has a big deal because we export a ton of stuff to Europe from the New York, New Jersey port. It's our largest port in America. And by the fact that that would be affected by any New York and New Jersey shutdown, it would effectively end a lot of the export of U.S. goods to Europe, including, and which would be disastrous.
Yeah, we also want to have another guest come in and weigh in. Joining us on the left is media and communications strategist, founder and CEO of Rebel Communications, Laura Fink. I believe we were able to establish that connection. Joining us now as part of our bipartisan panel. But I'd like to get her thoughts on that because oftentimes, and again, I've seen Republicans do this too, but Democrats time and time again, when it's come to COVID-19, have quoted the World Health Organization. Well, it's the World Health Organization that has said that lockdowns do not work. So, Laura, I want to get you to weigh in on this. Like, the World Health Organization says lockdowns do not work, and there isn't scientific evidence that says shutting down these restaurants are going to help stop the spread of COVID-19, then why would Andrew Cuomo and Bill de Blasio consider doing this again if that means that several of these businesses will not be able to reopen, that they cannot handle another shutdown?
Well, I haven't seen what you're referring to. I just jumped on here. But I will say this. We know from science that the virus is airborne. We also know that it happens through socializing and super spreader events where one person can spread the virus exponentially when in an enclosed space, in crowd, etc. And so this, in an abundance of caution, seeing the hospitals fill up is what we need to do to stop the spread. Right now, the vaccine is being distributed, which gives us a lot of hope. But there's a long, cold winter between now and then. And we are seeing, at the rate of 9/11 a day, thousands of people dying of this virus. And so these restrictions are put in place to save lives. It's clear that we need to have them in place because, you know, people went out at Thanksgiving and they got together with their families. And we know that that is attributable to what how the spike surged. So now these lockdowns are, hey, folks, take this seriously. Stay home, wear a mask, and you do have to sacrifice in the short term so that our nation can move forward, both economically and so this loss of life is mitigated. And,
but Laura, what if these reports are saying that economically they won't be able to move forward, that they can't handle another shutdown? And I understand what you're saying with these lawmakers and people saying that we need to be safe and that we shouldn't be spending time with our distant relatives during the holidays. But some of those politicians were, in fact, caught doing that very thing, some in your state of California. So, Rick, more than 300,000 people have left New York since March due to closures, some of them coming down to where we are right now, where this show is broadcast out of, and that is the state of Florida. What happens if California or New York lose more?
Well, California and New York are facing a fiscal crisis that is largely as a result of this, of both the COVID spending and also as a result of the COVID spending, but also as a result of the actions of the.
Okay, I think we're having a slight little technical audio delay. We're going to try to work that out. But Rick, I want to make sure that we hear what you had to say.
Yeah. New York and California are having their own set of problems that are partially COVID related, but the fact is that California, for instance, has a 13.5% state income tax. It's going up to 16% for the most wealthy. And so when you have state income taxes that are that high, New York has one of the highest income taxes, state income taxes in the nation as well. People with wealth are going to move. They have the ability to move. And so when you combine the shutdowns where you can't get to the office, we can't bring employees to the office, suddenly it makes a lot of sense to move to less tax-intensive states and more free states where you're able to have an office, have people come to it, people can afford to live by the office because of lower property taxes and lower cost of property. And so we're seeing a migration out of New York and out of California and to the surrounding states. And let's hope that those people don't bring their political philosophies with them.
All right, we only have a couple minutes remaining, but I want to make sure that in the time that we have that we can get to this other story. And there was a poll that just came out from Rasmussen and Just the News. Pretty interesting. It says the majority of voters support authorities requiring proof of citizenship for voting. This study says that although it is illegal for non-citizens to vote in the U.S. federal elections, and 1993 law prevents officials from requiring proof of citizenship. So pretty interesting. Not a lot of people are familiar with it. As it stands, the news coming out of Wisconsin were possibly over 200 1,000 people voted in the general election without having to present an ID. Laura, what's your take on this? Should the law change? Is that 1993 law, is that outdated?
Well, the Supreme Court, now that you bring it up, just upheld by deciding not to hear the case, the lower court ruling that overturned a Kansas statute that would require proof of citizenship to register to vote. And in fact, we found that over and over again. And Chris Kobach from Kansas led the president's Commission on Voter Fraud, which was disbanded, and really found 14 cases nationwide after examining 84 million votes. And that's just overall. That's not even in terms of non-citizens voting. So this is a solution without a problem, and the problem that it engenders and that it creates is that it disenfranchises voters in the process, and that's why the courts ruled against it. So they found that 30,000 citizens were disenfranchised in 2014
alone. Are you for it or against it though? Because we're short on time, and are you for showing voter ID? Yes.
So we're talking about proof of citizenship. I stand with the Supreme Court and the lower courts in throwing out rulings that suggest that you need to provide proof of citizenship, because there are instances where we see this happening broadly, and we see, as the Supreme Court has ruled, as the lower courts have ruled, that this disenfranchises large numbers of voters.
And
all right, because we are. Go ahead, Rick.
I would argue that the Supreme Court has said we're not going to get involved in local politics and state political laws, and yet they didn't take up the.
So we're short on time, Rick. Is that are you in favor of that or not?
Bottom line is we need to have citizens need to be only citizens voting.
I take that as a yes. We're going to have to leave it there. We'll be right back here.
Real America's Voice is a platform that fosters the real voice of America.
God bless America. Thank you for being here.
It's my voice. It's your voice. It's Real America's Voice.
Hey there, good morning, and welcome to Just the News AM. I'm Carrie Sheffield, and glad you are here.
You're watching Real America's Voice News. Real America's Voice News brings you real news and real opinion in a real world.
Keep it right here, Real America's Voice.
Stay informed, stay engaged, and stay up to date with Real America's Voice News.
Hey, I'm David Brody. Glad you're with us.
Download the Real America's Voice News app today at americasvoice.app. Real America's Voice News is a platform that celebrates America every day.
I'm thankful for many things, including you, our viewers who inspire me.
Don't miss 1 minute of Real America's Voice News. Real America's Voice News is opinion done right, on demand, and on every platform. Stay engaged, stay informed, and stay in tune with what's happening now on Real America's Voice.
God bless America. Thank you for being here.
There's finally a platform for your news and your voice.
Hey there, good morning, and welcome to Just the News AM. I'm Carrie Sheffield, and glad you are here.
Real America's Voice News is the perfect news companion, featuring breaking news and expert commentary to get you through your day. Real America's Voice News brings you real news and real opinion in a real world.
Keep it right here, Real America's Voice.
Stay informed, stay engaged, and stay up to date with Real America's Voice News.
Hey, I'm David Brody. Glad you're with us.
Download the Real America's Voice News app today at americasvoice.app. Real America's Voice News is a platform that celebrates America every day.
I'm thankful for many things, including you, our viewers who inspire me.
Don't miss 1 minute of Real America's Voice News. Real America's Voice News is opinion done right, on demand.
Welcome back to News On. I'm Miranda Kahn. Time now to take a look at some of the stories that you care about, but maybe you don't always see them on mainstream media outlets. Well, that's what we're here for. So here to help us do that, we want to head out to D.C., where we have Just the News reporter Sophie Mann standing by live with the very latest. Good to see you, Sophie.
Hi, Miranda. How are you?
I am well. Busy day. So I want to ask you about a recent report about the border, easy for me to say, border wall. There have been several reports suggesting that Joe Biden is receiving immense pressure to halt the border wall. But according to CBP's Mark Morgan, halting construction of this wall would be disastrous, a waste of billions of dollars, he says. So why is this a concern of CBP?
Well, so you did a good job summarizing it. Joe Biden obviously is under tremendous political pressure by his caucus and especially by the people in his party who are sort of obsessed with the virtue signaling that this wall has been so representative of. Obviously, this is a signature issue of President Trump's. He ran on it very hard in 2016, and, he erected this wall exactly as he promised he would. The way that government spending sometimes works is that you earmark a certain amount of money for a project, and once that money has been allocated, it's very hard to get the money back, even though it's all just taxpayer dollars. You cannot reappropriate it very easily. So once it is dedicated to a specific government project, it's very hard to then switch directions and allocate it to something separate. So in this case, what's happened is that a certain amount of dollars, taxpayer dollars, your dollars, mine, everybody's, and in this case it's multi-billions of them, have been allocated to building this wall, of which about 430 miles have been built this year. So what Mark Morgan, who is a senior official at, as you said, Customs and Border Control, is saying is that it would really just be a waste of American tax dollars to not finish the project as it has been laid out for the rest of the year, which is to erect a couple more miles, something like 10 or 20 more miles of the wall before January 20th. As you said, Biden is under tremendous pressure to shut the whole thing down, maybe even get rid of the wall altogether. But here we have senior officials in fairly bipartisan roles, or apolitical roles rather, saying, for the sake of the American tax dollar and the efficacy of those taxes, we should see the project through because it's not like this money can be spent on anything else.
Yeah, we've been hearing reports that, those in favor of the wall, a lot of these contractors have been working day and night, again, trying to complete this wall as much as possible. So let me just curious. So if Joe Biden does, in fact, make it into the White House, again, the Electoral College certified that the other day. We're still waiting on some of these lawsuits, so anything can happen. But let's just say he does. Is this something his administration would seriously consider stopping?
I think that there is always the possibility that they will. I mean, when administrations switch, we see signature policies in particular get rolled back. We saw a lot of that happen with Obama-era immigration policies that were issued via executive order, rolled back pretty immediately with the Trump administration. It's unclear because, what's different about this is that it is a physical barrier. So to get rid of it would be sort of an interesting symbolic process. But I would bet that it actually wouldn't be a priority of the Biden administration. Especially in recent days, we've actually seen the Biden administration or campaign stop talking about immigration. We heard reports the other day that it had become too controversial a topic and the party felt too factional about it. There were too many different opinions going on. And so they kind of just want to ease the brakes on that one and do some crowd testing before they figure out exactly the stance they're going to take, which makes me think, and this is just from my analytical perspective, that this wouldn't necessarily be the first thing that they came in focused on. Especially as the country is sort of still in the midst of the coronavirus pandemic and economic suffering abounds.
Right.
I can't help but feel like this might be something that they wouldn't get to, in the first 100 days, as they say. But there's always the chance that Biden would go so far, or maybe with the push of a Vice President Harris to, take down the wall that the president has spent the past 4 years making sure was built up to protect American citizens.
Yeah, also making headlines, although you didn't see it a lot from a lot of mainstream media outlets, at least not until fairly recently. But a former aide to New York Governor Andrew Cuomo says that he sexually harassed her for years. Again, this is kind of like, it's been out there, but Just the News has been following it, but you haven't heard it from a lot of mainstream media outlets. What do we know about this story so far? Do you think there will be an investigation into these accusations?
It's hard to say if there will be an investigation into these accusations at this point. You know, what this one employee, Lindsay Boylan, former employee, now running for Manhattan Borough President, came out this weekend and said on Twitter was that she worked for Governor Andrew Cuomo for a number of years, I think 2015 to 18, so quite a few years there. And she said that she tolerated abusive behavior of all sorts, sort of uncomfortable workplace dynamics, in addition to comments that she would classify as sexual harassment. She is putting a lid on herself. She has said that she will not be speaking to the press, which is sort of a difficult position to put herself in, you know, crying out these accusations, but then not being able to provide any sort of evidence or agreeing to
it's very odd
to the media. It's not that we shouldn't take them seriously, but it will be hard to determine sort of how to move forward with an investigation if she is refusing to speak to the press. I mean, we don't know that she's not speaking with investigators, and certainly Andrew Cuomo sort of having a bullying type of personality. That's not the first time that we've heard murmurings of that type of behavior. I mean, I think the thing to really pay attention to here, though, is that, you know, a Democratic politician who's been a bigwig for the duration of the coronavirus pandemic, mishandling it in a lot of major ways, and yet still being lauded by and large by the media and by some of his constituents, is now being criticized for something that is typically taken incredibly seriously by the media if the accusation is against a Republican in a high office. And
right.
so
now, the media coverage has definitely been different.
Has not seen a bunch of news play, which is not being helped by the fact that the woman does not wish to speak to the media, but still is something that you would think certain outlets, if the hat was switched and this was a Republican, would really press down on and, you know, nag her about and push on and try to get to the bottom of. And it's unclear if really sort of any secondary media investigations are developing at all around these, you know, awful allegations against the governor.
Yeah, it's very interesting, again, the way the media has handled this. Having said that, whether you're a Republican or you're a Democrat, you're presumed innocent in this country until proven guilty. And if she's only willing to comment it on Twitter and not go to the media or launch an investigation, which, again, we don't know, it makes it very difficult to cover this story. Also, want to get a quick update on the Hunter Biden tax affair, something that Just the News has been on top of since the beginning. Biden's office warned in 2015 that the Ukrainian oligarch who hired Joe Biden's son, Hunter, was deemed corrupt. How did they find this out, and do they know who this oligarch is?
Yes, well, so this is another top-notch piece of reporting from subject matter expert John Solomon on all things Hunter Biden. Basically, this is just another piece of evidence that Hunter's problems with Ukraine and corruption and Burisma Holdings and how that all interplays with his father's political career is an issue that's been going on for years and years and years. These new documents are emails and DOJ memos that went back and forth between Joe Biden and his staff and the DOJ and ambassadors in Russia, dating back into the Obama administration, meaning that this was an issue while Vice President Biden was the vice president. And, you know, his response just consistently was, this is a personal matter, that's my son, I'm proud of him, I don't want to talk about this, which you really begin to wonder, is that a good enough response when your father is the vice president of the United States? This is not just your typical family matter, you know, celebrity with a child who he wants to keep his private life private. That's all well and good, except if your father is second in line to be the leader of the free world. And is it at that point an acceptable answer for him to say, you know, like, hands off Hunter, that's his business life, especially if the way that his business life sort of has come to fruition is through connections that exclusively have to do with his last name and his father's position of power. But these documents, they're interesting. I'd recommend that everybody check them out. Of course, we've posted them all online. All of the documents are
Just the News. We're going to have to leave it there. Sophie Mann joining us live in our D.C. bureaus. We are out of time, but we'll definitely be sure and check that out by going to Just the News. Still to come here on News On. Get ready for an epic snowfall on the East Coast. We'll have all the details coming up with an update with Weather Nation. We'll be right back.
Real America's Voice is a platform that fosters the real voice of America.
God bless America. Thank you for being here.
It's my voice. It's your voice. It's Real America's Voice.
Hey there, good morning, and welcome to Just the News AM. I'm Carrie Sheffield, and glad you are here.
You're watching Real America's Voice News. Real America's Voice News brings you real news and real opinion in a real world.
Keep it right here, Real America's Voice.
Stay informed, stay engaged, and stay up to date with Real America's Voice News.
Hey, I'm David Brody. Glad you're with us.
Download the Real America's Voice News app today at americasvoice.app. Real America's Voice News is a platform that celebrates America every day.
I'm thankful for many things, including you, our viewers who inspire me.
Don't miss 1 minute of Real America's Voice News. Real America's Voice News is opinion done right, on demand, and on every platform. Stay engaged, stay informed, and stay in tune with what's happening now on Real America's Voice.
God bless America. Thank you for being here.
There's finally a platform for your news and your voice.
Hey there, good morning, and welcome to Just the News AM. I'm Carrie Sheffield, and glad you are here.
Real America's Voice News is the perfect news companion, featuring breaking news and expert commentary to get you through your day. Real America's Voice News brings you real news and real opinion in a real world.
Keep it right here, Real America's Voice.
Stay informed, stay engaged, and stay up to date with Real America's Voice News.
Hey, I'm David Brody. Glad you're with us.
Download the Real America's Voice News app today at americasvoice.app. Real America's Voice News is a platform that celebrates America every day.
I'm thankful for many things, including you, our viewers who inspire me.
Don't miss 1 minute of Real America's Voice News. Real America's Voice News is opinion done right, on demand.
And all eyes are focused on the Northeast as a nor'easter is expected to bring a significant amount of snowfall this week. Winter weather advisories are posted and travel will be difficult during this time, possibly as snow will begin to pour through the corridor of I-95. This is supposed to happen Wednesday. If you live in the Northeast, prepare as you always do for the winter storm and pay close attention to your local forecast for the latest information in your area. For more in-depth look at today's nationwide forecast and what we can expect from this nor'easter, we now want to send it over to Weather Nation's Patrick Crawford and Chelsea Ambrose.
Weather Nation meteorologist Patrick Crawford here with a look at some of the top weather headlines we're tracking at Weather Nation. One of the big headlines, the heavy snow on the way into the mid-Atlantic up through the Northeast. Winter storm warnings, winter weather advisories, as well as winter storm watches in place for heavy snow. Also, some areas, some heavy ice could be in the forecast. When we look at that forecast Wednesday, there's that changeover to the heavy snow from Indiana, Ohio through Pennsylvania down into the mid-Atlantic for places like Virginia, West Virginia, also going to see some of that heavy snow. Then look what happens Wednesday night, New York City, and then eventually Boston going to get some of that heavy snow as this low pressure system continues to make its way up into the Northeast. We're really going to get those strong northeasterly winds on Thursday across the Atlantic shores of the United States, and that means this will become a nor'easter. So we're looking at an eventual nor'easter as that low pressure system moves up the coast. There's the snowfall forecast. This is our personal model here at Weather Nation. This is the one that we use a lot. It's doing a very good job of hinting at where the heavy heavy snow could be from West Virginia, Northern Virginia, up through Pennsylvania, and into southern New York. Even western New Jersey could see that heavy snow. But there will be times of ice mixing in, could be heavy into parts of Virginia, West Virginia, and western North Carolina. Winston-Salem might see some accumulating ice as well. There's Washington, D.C. We're going to have that messy weather for travel conditions Wednesday. Should be drier by the end of the week and into the weekend. This is just one of the top weather headlines we're tracking. Chelsea, you've got the other headline.
On the southern side of things, we are looking at the possibility for some strong storms into areas of North Carolina and the Big Bend of Florida. Really, as we watch this area through the day tomorrow, we could be looking at some strong downdraft winds or maybe isolated tornadoes. Really, it's going to be for water spouts. So most of the rotation will stay off the coast, but you can't completely rule out maybe one or two of those storms trying to work their way closer. So the Storm Prediction Center has put out an outlook for that possibility. As we put that forecast into motion, you can see as we pause it down into Florida for Wednesday afternoon, notice how deep those colors are. Quite a bit of energy. So we're looking at maybe some of those areas to see some water spouts off the coast. Even up towards Wilmington and Ocracoke, we're seeing some of that some of those models indicating some rotation from those individual cells. But once we get through the afternoon and evening hours, that pulls away. Things are relatively quiet as we go into Wednesday night and Thursday morning. The severe weather elements, they're very isolated in the coverage area, as well as the possibility of some of those storms really just to be individual cells along this widespread system. As you can see, we do have maybe an inch or two of rain expected in that forecast, higher amounts of rain into areas of Jersey, Delaware, into Maryland, and that's all because of that winter weather that's pulling in the moisture. But the rest of us, half an inch to an inch of rain expected. Savannah, Georgia, you can see those wet weather chances out there for tomorrow. That's some of the top weather headlines. Remember, you can find your local forecast at weathernationtv.com.
And we'll do our best to brave these really cold temperatures here in Florida. I know you guys hate us right now, don't you? All right, coming up, we're going to share the most important voice that you'll ever hear on this network, and that is, of course, your voice. As I mentioned the other day, we've received a plethora of responses to the question that we posted over the weekend, so we're going to carry some of those over today. But we have a new question. We are going to be talking about the border wall. As we mentioned earlier there with Just the News' Sophie Mann, there is a push there for people that support Joe Biden to put a halt to that border wall. Meanwhile, people that support President Trump are wanting crews to amp it up, and they're trying to finish it in record speed, working both day and night. So that is the focus of today's question. We're going to share that question with you coming up after the break. We're also going to show you how you can share your voice with us here on News On. Also, Popeyes has been known for its spicy chicken sandwich, but it may start to become known for a new dessert. Let's just say it may be magnifique. We'll be right back.
Real America's Voice is a platform that fosters the real voice of America.
God bless America. Thank you for being here.
It's my voice. It's your voice. It's Real America's Voice.
Hey there, good morning, and welcome to Just the News AM. I'm Carrie Sheffield, and glad you are here.
You're watching Real America's Voice News. Real America's Voice News brings you real news and real opinion in a real world.
Keep it right here on Real America's Voice.
Stay informed, stay engaged, and stay up to date with Real America's Voice News.
Hey, I'm David Brody. Glad you're with us.
Download the Real America's Voice News app today at americasvoice.app. Real America's Voice News is a platform that celebrates America every day.
I'm thankful for many things, including you, our viewers who inspire me.
Don't miss 1 minute of Real America's Voice News. Real America's Voice News is opinion done right, on demand, and on every platform. Stay engaged, stay informed, and stay in tune with what's happening now on Real America's Voice.
God bless America. Thank you for being here.
There's finally a platform for your news and your voice.
Hey there, good morning, and welcome to Just the News AM. I'm Carrie Sheffield, and glad you are here.
Real America's Voice News is the perfect news companion, featuring breaking news and expert commentary to get you through your day. Real America's Voice News brings you real news and real opinion in a real world.
Keep it right here on Real America's Voice.
Stay informed, stay engaged, and stay up to date with Real America's Voice News.
Hey, I'm David Brody. Glad you're with us.
Download the Real America's Voice News app today at americasvoice.app. Real America's Voice News is a platform that celebrates America every day.
I'm thankful for many things, including you, our viewers who inspire me.
Don't miss 1 minute of Real America's Voice News. Real America's Voice News is opinion done right, on demand.
And welcome back to News On. Here at Real America's Voice, our goal is always to give you a voice. That is something we strive to do every day here. And to help us do that, all you have to do is join our community platform, or you can check us out on any of the social media platforms that we have at Real America's Voice or Real Miranda Con. We are on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on LinkedIn. I've been saying parlay, but other people call it parlor. If I mispronounced it, my apologies. I've heard it both ways. So I'm going to call it today Parlor. There you go. Cloud Hub, you name it, we're there. All right. And always, we stress that you comment, but we really love it when you can share video, you know? So here's the question that we asked you actually a few days ago, but we received so many responses that we just thought, you know what? What the heck? We're going to do it again today. So here was the question that we asked. President Trump criticizing the mainstream media, FBI, and DOJ for not reporting about the Hunter Biden matter prior to the election. We asked you this: does he make a valid argument, and would that have changed the results of the presidential election? Here's what some of you had to say. Greg Morales on Facebook saying this: the Trump family were all investigated. Why would the Bidens be privileged not to be? I miss your morning show, Miranda. Gots to work, laughing hysterically emoji. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate it, Greg. Our next response is from Connie Howard on Facebook saying this: I question the authenticity and fairness of the news media, and in particular, highly respected news outlets like the Washington Post and NBC, who refused to cover the Biden investigation prior to the election and suddenly find it credible. Democracy requires an unbiased news system if it is to survive. Report the facts and leave out your political bias, leave your political bias out of it. There we go. Just wanted to set the record straight. Just the facts. Rusty Miller weighing in on Twitter saying this: yes, Trump has a major case on election fraud, voting fraud, and Hunter and his father is guilty as well. You can see it there yourself. Thank you, Rusty. And Jeffrey on LinkedIn saying this: yes, all three are guilty of what POTUS claims. With all the verified information provided by Hunter's ex-partner, a special prosecutor should have been appointed. We now have a potential president-elect who may be proven to be involved with money laundering and probably other crimes. Thank you, Jeffrey. And last but certainly not least, we have Joe on Instagram saying this: transparency is always wanted. If Barr drops the hammer, it will be worth it. Thank you, Joe, and thank all of you for sharing your voice here on Real America's News. We appreciate it. Also, we have a new question of the day. We were talking about the border wall with Sophie Mann with Just the News. So we asked you this question: what will and should happen to President Donald Trump's border wall? You can answer this question by finding me on social media at Real Miranda Con or Real America's Voice. Simply leave a comment, or better yet, post a video. We love videos. Like, you'll be so cool. You can share it with all your friends. All right, and don't forget, be sure and download our app. Still to come here, Popeyes is releasing a new dessert on its menu. Now, we all remember how people stood in line for those spicy chicken sandwiches. Could the same thing happen with this new dessert? Now, here's a hint. It's a little more sophisticated than you may think. You know, c'est la vie. We'll be right back.
Real America's Voice is a platform that fosters the real voice of America.
God bless America. Thank you for being here.
It's my voice. It's your voice. It's Real America's Voice.
Hey there, good morning and welcome to Just the News AM. I'm Carrie Sheffield and glad you are here.
You're watching Real America's Voice News. Real America's Voice News brings you real news and real opinion in a real world.
Keep it right here on Real America's Voice.
Stay informed, stay engaged, and stay up to date with Real America's Voice News.
Hey, I'm David Brody. Glad you're with us.
Download the Real America's Voice News app today at americasvoice.app. Real America's Voice News is a platform that celebrates America every day.
I'm thankful for many things, including you, our viewers who inspire me.
Don't miss 1 minute of Real America's Voice News. Real America's Voice News is opinion done right, on demand, and on every platform. Stay engaged, stay informed, and stay in tune with what's happening now on Real America's Voice.
God bless America. Thank you for being here.
There's finally a platform for your news and your voice.
Hey there, good morning and welcome to Just the News AM. I'm Carrie Sheffield and glad you are here.
Real America's Voice News is the perfect news companion, featuring breaking news and expert commentary to get you through your day. Real America's Voice News brings you real news and real opinion in a real world.
Keep it right here on Real America's Voice.
Stay informed, stay engaged, and stay up to date with Real America's Voice News.
Hey, I'm David Brody. Glad you're with us.
Download the Real America's Voice News app today at americasvoice.app. Real America's Voice News is a platform that celebrates America every day.
I'm thankful for many things, including you, our viewers who inspire me.
Don't miss 1 minute of Real America's Voice News. Real America's Voice News is opinion done right, on demand.
Just as little Ralphie was denied a toy gun by Mall Santa, so was 4-year-old Michael DiCarlo. He asked Santa for a Nerf gun for Christmas, but mean Santa, as DiCarlo refers to him, his words, refused his request, leaving him, the little boy, in tears. And Santa didn't even say, "You'll shoot your eye out," as Santa said in A Christmas Story. Luckily, though, for him, the National Rifle Association stepped in to surprise the 4-year-old to expand his toy arsenal. Take a look.
Mean Santa didn't want to give me a Nerf gun for Christmas.
No guns. Nerf guns. No, not even a Nerf gun. It's okay.
The North Pole doesn't need any commies.
Oh my goodness, what a cute video. Yeah, I think that kid has quite the stockpile. Good for him. Popeyes is feeling the spirit of the season and launching its chocolate beignets nationwide, believe it or not. Plus, they're also debuting a beignet-themed sweatshirt. People are really getting into food. We were talking about this with our producers, Monica and Anna. I was like, what is it with this year? I mean, I know everything's different this year, but it seems like we're having like bacon-smelling mask and, you know, Chipotle putting out clothes, and now you can wear a beignet sweatshirt so you can stuff your face while wearing it. If you're not familiar with it, it's kind of this French donut. It's real popular in Louisiana. There's a restaurant known for it called Café du Monde. They're divine, and I'm sure these chocolate gooiness ones will be just as fabulous as their spicy chicken sandwiches. Not so good for the diet. Yes, you can blame us once again. Alrighty. It has been a decades-long tradition for First Ladies to visit the Washington Children's Hospital for the holidays. So our beautiful First Lady, Melania Trump, isn't skipping out on this Christmas tradition. She planned her fourth and final holiday visit as First Lady today. Continuing a tradition, in case you didn't know, it began 70 years ago by First Lady Bess Truman. The First Lady will be reading to a small group of children in front of a towering Christmas tree at the hospital's atrium. Love to see that. She's set to read Children's Christmas Story, Oliver the Ornament Meets Marley, and Joan and Abby, which will be broadcasted on the hospital's closed-circuit television system so patients everywhere can listen in their rooms. Love that. It might be getting close to Christmas, but Santa still has plenty of time to get some fishing in. While things can get crazy this time of year, it's also important to remember that the holidays are the season of giving. A group of nearly 300 fishermen wanted to keep that tradition alive, and one of the most seasonally appropriate ways possible, of course, angling at St. Nick. There you go. Look at it. Fishing Rod Company, Ugly Stick, held a bass fishing tournament in North Carolina on Saturday. This is just so cool. I just love this site. And here's even better news. It raised over $15,000 worth of donations for Toys for Tots. In the spirit of the season, participants even dressed up, as you can see, as Kris Kringle himself. Love to see that. All right, that will do it for this edition of News On. As always, you can follow us on social media at Real Miranda Khan or Real America's Voice. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Be sure and keep it right here. America's Voice Live is next. I'm going to see your beautiful faces tomorrow at noon Eastern. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Real America's Voice is a platform that fosters the real voice of America.
God bless America. Thank you for being here.
It's my voice. It's your voice. It's Real America's Voice.
Hey there, good morning, and welcome to Just the News AM. I'm Carrie Sheffield, and glad you are here.
You're watching Real America's Voice News.